Hi, my name's Holly and I'm the owner of Pilates PT. And this workout is ideal if you're in your third trimester. Right now I'm 32 weeks, but you can use this throughout your third trimester. In your third trimester, you really want to be focusing on strengthening the pelvic floor, but also knowing how to completely release the pelvic floor. So as much as it's been lovely up until now to practice on the contraction and the pulsing of the pelvic floor, we need to make sure that we still know how to completely release it. It's also really important to keep the body moving. So you might be finding that it's harder to sleep at the moment, or that you're getting a little bit of back pain as bump gets bigger. So we're going to be doing a lot of spine mobility work and loosening you off. Now, I want you to start in a position that's comfortable for you. So for me right now, I'm comfortable sat on my bum with my feet out in front of me and my knees slightly bent. For you, you might be more comfortable with your legs completely extended, or you may find that you need to sit on some pillows, a chair, a pregnancy ball, whatever works best for you. But find a position that's nice and comfortable because you're going to be here for a few minutes. And later on in this workout, you are going to need a pillow or a yoga block. So just make sure that you have any old pillow nearby to prop your head on when you're lying on your side. So find the position that's most comfortable for you, and then just pop your hands on your knees wherever they are so that your shoulders can relax down. So I want you to really feel as if you're nice and tall, pulling up through the crown of your head, but that your shoulders are low, especially if it's the end of the day for you right now. So shoulders are down, close your eyes, and just find a position that's really comfortable for you. We're going to start to remind ourselves of the Pilates breath. So Pilates, we breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. So it's a circular breath. When you're ready, we're going to breathe in through the nose. And as you exhale, breathe out through pursed lips. And keep this going. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Now keep the eyes closed as you do this and just start to really visualize what's happening in the rib cage. As your baby gets bigger, your organs are pushed upwards, which leaves not much space for your lungs. So it's really important to sit nice and tall here and try and open out the rib cage on the in-breath. And as you exhale, feel the ribs closing slowly in and down. 2 more big breaths here. Every inhale, again, you're trying to take as much air into the lungs as possible. And as you exhale, you feel your rib cage closing and you feel your ribs and your lungs emptying. And your last big deep breath here. And on the exhale, you can slowly open the eyes and find your stillness. Now, before we move on, I just want you also to focus on the pelvic floor. So the analogy that we're going to use today is that the pelvic floor is like an elevator. And I want you to start the elevator on the ground floor. Okay, now we're not going to match this with any breathing. You're just going to do this in your own time. But I want you to picture your elevator or your lift being on the ground floor. Now imagine the doors open, people get on, people get off, and the elevator doors close. Now when you're ready, I want you to take that elevator up to level 1. So we're going to go up just 1 level and we're going to hold. Now imagine the doors opening, people getting off, people getting on and closing. And now take that elevator up to level 2. So a little bit more of a contraction. Doors open, doors close. Come back to level 1, doors open, doors close, and now come back to the ground floor. Now that will match the type of pelvic floor exercises you've done before, and that's a lovely way of visualizing it. But now I also want you to be on the ground floor and take the lift down to the basement. Now down in the basement, the doors open and the doors close, and then we come back up to the ground floor. And this is where you really need to think about completely releasing the pelvic floor before you then continue. So I really want you to practice that in your own time if you can. Really important that we know how to release as well as contract the pelvic floor. Now from here, change the position if you need to. So in your final trimester, you might find that you want to change positions quite often. So maybe you could cross your legs over if you like. You can now pad yourself up on a pillow, whatever best for you. You're going to reach your arms out to crucifix, out to the side of the room. Now let the left arm just fall down by your side wherever you are and take your right arm up over the head, stretch up and then gently fold over to your left. Now as I've done this, my legs and my hips have stayed still, so I'm not allowing my right glute to lift off the ground. And from the side I'm nice and flat, so I haven't rotated I'm really neutral from my side profile. And really here I'm feeling a gentle stretch around my shoulder blade and down the side of the body. And because we're already more flexible when we're pregnant, be careful you're not pushing too far. I would say maybe a 5 out of 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. Keep gently reaching, keep breathing into this side bend, and then slowly come all the way up and bring your arms back to crucifix. Now lower the right arm down, left arm reaches to the ceiling. Stretch up, and then keeping your hips nice and still, fold gently over to your right. Again, you should feel a stretch down the side, left-hand side of your body, but nothing excessive, no pulling or gripping or gurning. Breathe into it here. Big inhale. And as you exhale, you breathe out through pursed lips. One more. And then slowly restack all the way back up. Bring the arms back to crucifix and then relax them down. Now visualize your rib cage. I want you to rotate the ribs to your left, just like you're looking over your left shoulder. Now take your hands and pop them wherever is comfortable on your left leg. So I've twisted to the left first, then I've put my hands on my left leg. Now I'm not using my leg to pull myself round, but I am going to sit up nice and tall. And it's just a gentle rotation. Again, it's not 10 out of 10. I think maybe 5 out of 10 on that scale. And I'm just gently rotating for 3, 2, and unravel. Again, focus on the rib cage first. It gently rotates, looking over my right shoulder. I pop my hands wherever's most comfortable, sit up nice and tall, and just gently breathe into it. I'm not trying to look over my shoulder to the back of the room. It's not like a twist we might have done before we were pregnant. 3, 2, and then gently unravel. Now you're going to need your pillow, so we're going to lie down on our left-hand side. Be cautious as you lie down. Make sure that you always use your hands, because what we don't want is to use the core and have any doming of the abdominals. So I'm going to lie down on my left-hand side. My pillow is under my head, and just make sure that you take a moment to get comfortable through that upper body. And then the legs are going to straighten out underneath me, but slightly in front of my hips. So I almost look like a bit like a banana. Now you could prop a little rolled up towel underneath your bump as well, if that makes you feel more supported. And just make sure your hips are stacked one on top of the other. Now my legs are nice and straight, my toes are pointed. And from here, as I exhale, I'm going to lift my right leg up to just past hip height. And then inhale, control the release back down. And same again. Exhale, we lift the right leg up. And inhale, control the release down. Now you may have found in the past, maybe before you were pregnant, you did an exercise like this and the leg went really high up into the air. But what you tend to find is all that does is tilts the pelvis. And as soon as you lift your leg, you're already working your hip abductor anyway. So you don't need to take it really high. In fact, it could even aggravate any pelvic girdle pain that you might be experiencing. So keep it nice and small. We're going to do 2 more like this. Imagine someone is pulling on your toes, so the leg is really long. And now lift and hold. Now I'm going to look down and make sure the leg is now hip height. I'm going to kick the leg slowly forwards as far as I can keep my balance. Now flex the ankle and draw the leg back behind you. Point the toe, gently hinge the leg forwards from the hip, flex the ankle and pull the leg back. Now we're going to continue here, nice fluid, slow movement. I want you to inhale the leg forwards and exhale as we sweep it back. This is getting some movement through your ankle, which might really help if you have any fluid retention. And it's also challenging your pelvic stability because I don't want your hips to move. 3 more like this. Drag the heel back. Last 2 and pull. Now the last one, we're going to bring the leg forwards. We're going to pull it back. We're going to hold. Now from here, point the toe and tiny pulses up and up. Now you should be feeling some real heat around the side of your leg here. Might be heat, it might literally be burning. Final 3, 2, last one, we're going to hold. 3, 2, 1 and relax. Now I would just bend the knee and let it come forwards onto the floor for a moment. Punching, rubbing, tapping the side of your leg really does help. Give it a bit of a rub to get rid of some of that discomfort. And then in your own time, using your hands, remember, you're going to slowly push yourself up onto hands and knees. So flipping over, 4-point kneeling. Now we want for 4-point kneeling the wrists under the shoulders. the knees underneath the hips. And we're looking for a really neutral spine. Now remember, this is where we've got a slight curve in the lower back, and we've also got the hip bones and the pubic bone all on the same level. Now roll your shoulders away from your ears, find a neutral position for them. And then I'm just going to get you to do some gentle pelvic tilts at first, just to loosen off that lower back. And then again, re-find your neutral and hold it there. Let the baby be heavy in your belly. So feel as if you've relaxed your abdominal muscles and you're letting it all kind of hang out. Now we initiate the next exercise by contracting the pelvic floor. So from here, gentle activation of the pelvic floor. And then I want you to imagine drawing your baby gently up towards your spine, hugging it in, and then gently let everything release again. So again, I'm initiating by contracting my pelvic floor, but then I activate my corset abdominal and I gently draw my bump up into the body like I'm hugging my baby, and then I gently let everything release. Now you can see that as I do this, I'm not changing the position of my spine. So I'm still keeping my neutral. I'm not rounding my back as I pull my belly button in. And it's not an aggressive movement, it's a gentle hugging in of your baby. Now we're going to do 2 more like this. We initiate by contracting the pelvic floor, and then we try to draw the belly button up. Now, if your bump is particularly big, you might not see much movement, and that's fine, as long as you feel like you're initiating using those muscles. Last one, contract the pelvic floor, zip the belly button towards the spine, and then gently release it all back off. Now, as long as you're comfortable to do this, just gently sit back on your heels. And I want you to give your wrists just a quick shake out. Maybe give your wrists a roll as well, just in case they're starting to get uncomfortable. And we're going to do one more exercise here before we move on and do side lying leg work on the other leg. Come back to the same position. So slowly walk yourself back out into 4-point kneeling. You may want your hands a little bit wider for this. So we're going to do some push-up preps. Now keep the bum up in the air. So we're not going to be doing a half plank position here. I'm turning the creases of my elbows forwards, and from here I'm just going to bend my elbows and then press and straighten my arms back out. So because I have the creases of the elbows forwards, as soon as I bend, my elbows point backwards and then I press back up. So this is a push-up that's targeting the arms, mainly the triceps, a little bit of lats, because I don't want your shoulders to come up towards your ears. But it's not compromising your core. It's not engaging your front abdominals at the moment. If you look down at your tummy, you should see that there's no doming, there's no coning, and it's not going all pointy. That's normally a sign that you've worked your rectus abdominis, which are the abdominals that give you a six-pack. And they're the ones we tend to want to avoid during pregnancy. Now we're going to do 2 more like this. If you want more of a challenge, you could try and get your nose to the ground. And your last one, and exhale to press. Again, as long as you're comfortable here, sit back on your heels, and you could even carefully come down into this modified child's pose. So my knees are wide enough that my bum does not feel squashed and it's nice and relaxed, and I'm just resting on my forearms. Hold it here, have a little breather for 3, 2, and then carefully up onto your hands and come back to kneeling. Now we need to take our pillows to the other end of the mat, and we're going to lie down this time on our right hand side. So in your own time, take your time, use your hands to help you lie down, which should feel relatively comfortable, and get your pillow nice and comfortable under your head. We're going to have straight legs, remember, just slightly in front of your body so you look a little bit like a banana. Put a towel, a rolled up towel under your bump if you need the support there, and take a moment to get your hips nice and level. From here we have pointed toes, and as you exhale, you lift your top leg up to just past hip height, and inhale, control the release back down. Again, exhale, we lift, and inhale, we gently lower. Now remember, we're not going really high. This is not a huge movement. And what I do want you to do is imagine that as you lower the leg down, there's resistance. So some people like to imagine that as they lower their leg, they're pushing through treacle. Or you could imagine that you have a beach ball in between your ankles now that you're pushing down on. And it does make a huge difference imagining this resistance there. So that then creates a little bit of work in both directions. Remember to keep the pelvis really still. So as you lift your leg, try not to sink into your waist. 2 more. On the next one, we're going to lift, we're going to hold. Now just look down and lower the leg to hip height and stay there. We're going to kick the leg forwards as far as you can keep your balance, flex the ankle and draw the leg back in line with the body. Point the toe, kick it forwards, flex the ankle and draw it back. Now smooth it out so it's one fluid movement, and you can see that although I'm moving my leg, the rest of my body stays nice and still. Don't make this an aggressive movement that then rocks the rest of the body. You should be starting to feel a little bit of warmth in the side of your hip. 3 more. And exhale. 2 more. It should always be at the same height. So about hip height. Last one. We pull it back. Hold it there. Point the toe. And baby pulses here. And this is when you should really start to feel the fatigue creeping in for 3, 2. Last one. Hold. 3, 2, 1. And relax. Again, if it helps, just bend that knee onto the floor in front of you. Give your bum a bit of a rub or a bit of a pat, whatever makes it feel more comfortable. And then in your own time, carefully using your hands, remember to push yourself all the way back up to seated. Now I want you to finish again in a position that's most comfortable for you. So it might be cross-legged, it might be the legs in front, you might be sat on a pillow or a ball, whichever works best for you. I want you to take your hands onto your knees, again, wherever you're sat. Close the eyes and just come back to the breath that we started with. So big breath in through your nose. And as you exhale, it's out through the mouth. Keep this going. Now, what I really want your focus to be on now is that when you exhale, you relax the jaw. Try not to keep any tension in the jaw or the face or your forehead. So big breath in. And as you exhale, relax the jaw. 2 more big breaths here, filling up the rib cage. As you exhale, completely relax through your face and your jaw. And your last big breath here. And exhale. Now we're going to open the eyes. Take a moment to visualize the pelvic floor. Think back to the lift analogy that we used earlier on, and just double check that the lift right now is at the basement. So we're not on ground floor, we're completely relaxed through the pelvic floor. And try to remember when you're doing your pelvic floor exercises that the relaxation of the pelvic floor is just as important going forwards as the contraction. Now take your time before you rush off to go about the rest of your day. Make sure that you have a drink, maybe have a snack, maybe take some time on your mat just to bring yourself back into the room and enjoy the rest of your day.